Good morning, everybody. Pastor Rick here. This is the Broadman Word for September 14th, 2022. We're in the fall already. Hard to believe, but it is a beautiful morning, a little foggy, but I hope you're excited about the day, what God has for you, in store for you, the mission you have to accomplish out in the kingdom today, and that you have a plan and a purpose, and you're going to leave the house today just laser focused on moving the kingdom forward in God's will through you. What an amazing thing. But you're going to encounter some difficulties. We always do. And we're going to see a lot of things, some of it good, some of it bad, some of it really bad. And we can tend as people, just because we can become so offended or so dismayed by what we see, to maybe get angry and maybe even show visible signs of anger and being upset at all the nonsense that there is out in the world today, particularly when it's in close proximity to us or we encounter it, up close and personal. I want to direct you, though, to the book of James, chapter 1. And we're going to read verses 19 and 20, so here we go. It says, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires." So when we become angry, worldly angry, not spiritually upset, we should be. I'm talking about when we display worldly anger. We are not able at that moment to have or display the righteousness of God. It says we cannot produce the righteousness of God. And if you think about it, our big job of evangelism, that's why we're here. That's the overall big goal for all of us, is then producing righteousness in others, that they might then be able to stand before God. Of course, He has to impart His grace and salvation before somebody can be righteous before Him, but it's our job to lead them to that point. So we are in the production process. We are the factory. We are the factory workers producing the product of righteousness in others, because that's what God has us here to do, until the day of the Lord. Then we all get to go home. So we also, in order to not be angry, to be slow to anger, we need to be able to speak slowly as well, and we need to be able to listen. It is easy to charge into a situation because we know the truth and we know the life that is available to people, and so our tendency to rush in and speak may be best served, or the goal may be best served if we were a little slower to speak. You never want to be shy about presenting the gospel, or when necessary defending the gospel, giving reasons for the hope that you have, sharing your story, being part of God's big story, illustrating that for folks. Never want to be shy about that. But perhaps instead of being quick to speak when you see something happen or you see something in somebody else, if we were a little slower to speak, a little measured in what we speak, our end goal, our purposes might be better served that way. And then to be able to listen, because we're not going to be able to enforce the gospel message. It must be received. So in order for somebody to receive it, they must first feel heard. You must hear what they have to say. Not just listen, but you must hear what they have to say and be able to empathize with it and be able to give them some sort of correlation, connect the dots somehow between where they are and where they could be with a life in Christ. So that requires measured listening. It requires measured listening followed by being slow to speak. You don't want to just rush in and start pointing out all the sin and problems in their life, and it could all be magically fixed if they would just go to church. That message isn't going to ring out well. It's not going to be received well. It's not going to be able to produce the righteousness that we seek. So, slowing down a little bit, understanding that it is a sin-sick, fallen world. For whatever reason, it'd be a gigantic geopolitical discussion to figure out why we've let God be removed from so many places in American society, and evil has come in and replaced it, because that's the only possibility. Once God leaves or we kick God out, the darkness is what's left. God is light. The world is darkness. If God withdraws his light, then darkness fills in, and we get what we have now in so many places. We shouldn't be surprised by it. But it can be shocking. It can be disturbing. It can produce anxiety and stress, and it can even get you to the point of anger, where you become perhaps a little critical, and maybe even in the process of being a little critical, exhibit some judgment. None of that is going to help. James tells us, slow to speak, listen, and not produce worldly results, but produce the will of God in us, which is the ultimate righteousness of the people that we are speaking to. So listen, get a plan together, consecrate your day. That just means pray it up. Consecrate your day. And then after you've done that, put your plan into the consecrated prayers that you've had, right? You've lifted this up to God. You are sure that it is within his will. And then go out and get about it. Be a light in the darkness today. And slow to speak, easy to listen, and not to anger. I love you. You have a marvelous day. It is a marvelous day to be a Christian. Take care.